yeah, between the Tigris and the Euphrates. We're talking about that too. These guys have a lot of interesting thoughts on that. So hang in there, Ring. And we're going to get started right now. There we go. All right, so this is an article on Stage Space. Says satellites discover biblical Garden of Eden. Okay, from 2017. This is where we're going to jump into things that it stung myself. Yes, we're talking about the Garden of Eden. And that's another thing that I will be breaking down. You know, like I was just talking about with the insectoid aliens, I was going to go through those lists of different alien species. You know, when I'm not every week on CryptoCorner will I be doing that. Some weeks I'm going to just do other topics. I'm not going straight through a big list of aliens. That would get boring. But doing them, sprinkling them in will be fun. And I'm going to do the same thing with, I'm going to start doing the same thing with different artifacts, different, and I call them sorcerers, just because, you know, that's in mythology, that's the class that they'd fall into. Figures, I guess, biblical figures with mystical origins and things like that. Monsters, going over individual apologetic videos about them and about the magic and stuff, and we're going to break that down. So we may do it through the plagues of Egypt. We're doing the Garden of Eden right now. We may do the Sheol at some point. We may do, obviously, we can do different areas of the Holy Land where certain things have happened. Ron White is going to be a figure that pops up in these tales quite frequently, unfortunately. We may do, I was looking into doing the parting of the Red Sea because there's some pillars and stuff that they make claims about. So that's probably coming up. That actually might be next week on CreationWatch. Not reformatting the show. It'll still be where I focus just on a specific video of that some apologists put out, but I'd also like to kind of mix things up and talk about just some different creationist topics as well, that kind of link into the biblical narrative, some of the supernatural stuff from the Bible, basically, and we're going to explore the concepts and kind of debunk it. We'll look at how some of the themes come up in different mythologies, and starting with the Garden of Eden is perfect because in most Abrahamic beliefs, they do have a literalist belief that Adam and Eve were the first humans. So this is the starting point for that most Abrahamic faiths will agree on. From here, they kind of branch off in different directions and how things went and how things evolved. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to read a little bit about this, and this is just the first of many claims that we'll probably go over regarding the Garden of Eden. No, actually, I don't have too many. Just a few. We may pull up some more because there's other stuff that other content creators that are putting stuff out about this. I tried to find the most recent ones though, because I want to do stuff from like 2008 and things like that. But there's been a lot of claims of people finding the Garden of Eden in every place from the North Pole to Kansas City, Missouri to lost city of Atlantis. Excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. I hate making you all listen to me drink. I should mute. Like that. Because I'm a noisy drinker, especially when it comes to slurping down my coffee. Because I need that extra burst of energy. But yeah, Ring is right about between the Tigris and the Euphrates, as the Bible states, right? That indicates that this was the location. But there's apologetics for that, and we're gonna dip our toes in those apologetics a bit. We're also we will talk about the dome or the firmament. We will, Godseed. So We're going to talk about what's outside of it and what's inside of it. Not today. That's not today's topic. Today we're talking specifically about the garden. And yeah, and the reason I keep saying that everybody agrees, at least that this is the starting point, is because not everybody that follows Abrahamic faith does. Madsonism, as proposed by my friend Richard Madsen, he gets a kick out of me calling it that. That's what it is. It's Madsonism. It's an ancient alien belief system that links up a bunch of religions, but in his belief system, it follows an Abrahamic framework too. But it does not necessarily give this type of origins to the Garden of Eden story, is what we're going to cover here. And it was like a place. He doesn't believe that it was a place physically on Earth. Okay, so I'll read a little bit of this, and then we'll watch their videos. They have this really weird balance on their video lengths, though. Look at this one's 2 minutes and 33 seconds, part 1. Part 2 is 27 minutes and 42 seconds. So there's different ways you can cut your videos, pal. Make it more balanced. I try to do that anyway. I mean, it's not always perfect, but I don't have part 1 at a less than 5 minutes and then part 2 at almost a half an hour. Anyway, satellites discover biblical Garden of Eden. In 2017, I became certain that I discovered the location of the Garden of Eden. Unsurprisingly, I never intended to find the Garden of Eden, although my interests are broad and varied, including archaeology, religion, mythology, international politics, and ancient culture. My main focus has always been on space and aerospace-related technology. Indeed, the entire site is dedicated to my unwavering ambition to build a Belgian space launch capability, and I spent decades of my life to this personal ambition. But here we are. I found something I was not looking for, serendipitously, in a crater in the desert mountain massif in, let's see, the massive, how do you say this? Tibesti mountain range? Yeah. In the Republic of Chad on the African continent. Below, you will find a link to a video with satellite imagery. It took me a couple of years to decide who I really wanted to be the person who reveals the location in modern times, maybe becoming a pariah in the process. But I have come to the conclusion that it is necessary to share this knowledge and not hide it. This location is the common inheritance of all mankind. We were all destined to return to the garden and the tree of life. But how did this happen? After a stroke of insight that came to me during a dream in that fateful winter night of 2017, memories left behind from reading ancient text, pictography, and architecture suddenly clicked together. So we're getting like kind of Lovecraftian here. It came to me in a dream. Reading ancient text and pictography. Now, I imagine if you spend a lot of time combing through that stuff and believing that there's some supernatural origin. Chad is hot, dry desert. Yes, it is. Let's see, where was I? Click together. Okay, I woke up, felt shocked, and this feeling made me believe that a pattern I suddenly remembered made sense in some way, although I had no idea at the time how precisely. Like a proverbial scientist following a hunch, a hypothesis took shape. In the same manner that Henry Schliemann, sorry, Henry, I don't mean to mispronounce your last name, discovered the mythical city of Troy, I hypothesized that the ancients had encoded a message in their text, art and monumental architecture. simple to decode for the average person if only we were brave enough to read those expressions of art for what they are. Clues to be taken literally, not merely metaphorically. Breadcrumbs of a trail with a destination. Okay, so yeah, that Schliemann guy, I don't know how to pronounce that, but he's the one who, I guess, discovered the remains of Troy that previously had been thought to be mythological. Let me pop over to the chat here and see what's going on. Hey, yeah, I told Blessed to come on over and we'd watch this. He'd enjoy this topic. Yeah, Vandalia says, we got to be careful. If we find it and eat the immortal fruit, then we will start to go all Highlander and start cutting people's heads off with swords. Yeah, would swords be the method used? I bet in modern day, if Highlander was a real thing, it'd probably use guns. You'd probably gun down your enemy and then go cut their head off while they were down. That'd be my speculation, because like when he got wounded, and I go by the first Highlander lore, when he got wounded in the battle, he was down for a couple of days before he woke back up. So I imagine taking a couple of blasts from a shotgun to the chest would probably put you down long enough for your enemy to just cut your head right off. I think one of the more modern Highlander movies actually had a character who did that. But I may be misremembering. Anyway, back to the story. Yeah, we just got a couple more paragraphs. Following up on these hunches with further research, I was finally able to form hypothesis. I turned to modern technology to test the idea that these odd patterns I found were indeed clues. Eventually, by trial and error, peering over satellite images and following ancient instruction, I found what has remained hidden from public eye for thousands of years, an earlier generation of the ancient Egyptian civilization, a natural prototype for Egyptian pyramids at Giza, causeways in the mysterious Sphinx, but also, even more unexpectedly, the location of the biblical Garden of Eden. So that's exciting, right? We're excited. Garden of Eden. I'm excited about it anyhow. But let's go on. Amazingly, the earliest chapters of the Bible are well based in reality. They are not merely the written down remnant of an oral tradition. They are a description of what people observe in their immediate surroundings thousands of years ago. The earliest part of the Bible, the earliest parts of the Bible, not just a single part, the earliest parts of the Bible, I think the earliest part of the Bible is Job though, right? I got my Bible nerds in the side chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Regios, it's good to see you. Yeah. Job, I believe, is the earliest book of the Bible. The earliest parts of the Bible are not metaphors, but contain literal truth to be seen and not just believed. In this world where postmodernists believe that everything is just narrative, truth does not exist or is inaccessible. Discovering that our most ancient narrations are based in the dirt of reality, and as such convey an accessible truth, is a welcome breath of fresh air. I don't know about that. Then that's just people wanting that there has to be meaning. There has to be a meaning, right? This has to mean something. Sorry, that's not the way reality works. So, when people ask about the cosmos and ask me, where did everything come from? What's the prime mover, right? I don't. So the cosmos is how it creates universes, and if we're recycled from a previous universe, if we're energy from multiple different universes merged into one to create ours within the cosmos, I don't know. That's beyond my ken, and I'm not trying to be like dismissive about that kind of claim, right? I'm okay saying that. I don't know, but to have a need for there to be a meaning behind it, not just the inevitability that as the cosmos generates universes, that inevitably it's going to generate a universe with life. Just it's not is a 100% chance of it with infinite alterations to the material makeup of the universes that are created. Eventually there's going to be one with life. Sorry about the tangent. I did get into this conversation over on Leo Felius's channel, and I need to give Leo a command too. I almost forgot to do Leo. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, yeah, let's see what their video says. We're gonna watch this little 2-minute one first, and then we'll watch the longer one. All right, so. Let me know how the volume is on this one too. Some banjo there and guitar. Maybe it was just a guitar.
Finding the Garden of Eden, the memory of which is preserved in all religions. Chapter 1. Why do we bring the garden to light? Lost for thousands of years, remembered for thousands of years, we believe it is important to restore the knowledge of the location of the Garden of Eden.
I don't know, he's really quiet to me. I'm going to turn him up a little bit.
Its location. But humanity started to believe the garden is myth. Many will say that it is wiser to leave it in obscurity, for wicked men may wish...
Yeah, I'm going to restart it. Tell me if that's better. His video is really quiet too, so.
Finding the Garden of Eden, the memory of which is preserved in all religions. Chapter 1. Why do we bring the garden to light? Lost for thousands of years, remembered for thousands of years, we believe it is important to restore the knowledge of the location of the garden.
That's as loud as I can get him to go.
Religions worldwide have preserved the keys to trace back its location, but humanity started to believe the garden is myth. Many will say that it is wiser to leave it in obscurity, for wicked men may wish to destroy it. We chose, however, to reveal its location, so man may remember that religion has an important message. Remember, man, woman, your ancestors. Remember your unity, and be aware of the cosmic cycles of destruction. How can we solve the rift between religion and science, between hearts and minds? Skeptics believe oral histories encapsulated within religion and their books are mere unreliable fantasies from the Stone Age. Fundamentalist zealots abuse the voice of our ancestors for their misplaced utopian ideals. The Garden of Eden, however, belongs not to Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, because all other religions and traditions also possess the keys to its location. The garden has always been the inheritance of us all. Science is now actively investigating if there is something as a genetic Adam.
Oh,
the first couple we...
So a genetic atom. It's talking about Y chromosomal atom, right? That's the representative of a genetic bottleneck in our human history, right? It's not actually Adam from the Garden of Eden. It's the common male ancestor that we all share. It's not an actual real individual that was the first human ever made. That's not how that works. Adam was part of a population. Mitochondrial Eve was part of a population. They're separated by about 10,000 years, I believe. But they are the last common male and female ancestor that we all share. I believe, yeah. And Eve was, correct me if I'm wrong, I know I got some brilliant people out here. Eve was before Adam in that structure, or what they call Y chromosome Noah, right? Because they talk about Adam here, we should actually be able to trace all our genetic ancestry back to Noah, not Adam, because there was genetic diversity before Noah that didn't get passed on, right? Anyway.
We all descended from. The Garden of Eden, we will see, remembers Adam and Eve. The landscape we will find dates from before Babel, the time of confusion, and it dates back to the first episode in the Old Testament before the transition to...
So with Babel, right, the time of confusion, when we refer to that, I guess that it wasn't just confusing the language, was it confusing the histories too? Because shouldn't parts of the Bible, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe the whole Old Testament was supposed to be revealed to Noah, but I thought parts of it were written by other prophets. Anyway, yeah, let's go right along here.
That is why the Garden of Eden is situated in a landscape filled with references to multiple religions. We are asked to leave these places intact, preserve the knowledge they hold, and learn from it. That is why all world religions remain vague about its location.
Sorry about that. Ian just needed to talk to me for a minute. Let's go back. All right, and then let's see, we have how did I discover the Garden of Eden? But for those who want direct proof of the relation between the world and of the Bible and this site in Africa, here is also a video proving that what we have what we have indeed found Adam and Eve. Oh, yeah, let's go into this one now. I don't know why I closed that like that. My mouse is being weird.
7 and 8 of the King James translation. We read in verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. 8. And the Lord God planted the garden eastward in Eden, and there he put man who he had formed. So in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, we read, And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his...
You think you came from a rock. But can't you think you came from dust? Which sounds crazier to you.
Nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. When we look at the formation here in the crater, we see a large face to the right of the crater, to the east. This is Adam.
Large face of a creator. It's Adam. Like, is Adam a giant? We see a large face to the right. This is Adam. Left, we see a large cloud of dust in front of the face of Adam. It has the shape of a cloud of misty breath. So, okay, let's break this down. So this is Adam's face. I guess this is his Adam's apple. It's right here. And it just fades off. And then these mountain ranges in the shape of a cloud. You know, because clouds have that distinct shape that you can say, hey, this is shaped like a cloud. All right?
To the left, we see something that looks like a large cloud of dust, which sits and rests in front of the face of Adam. Indeed, one could say it has the shape of a cloud of misty breath. And that breath looks as if it has just been exhaled by Adam or is being inhaled through his nostril.
We'll say this is double inception here, because it's a cloud that looks like, it's a mountain range that looks like a cloud that looks like a breath. So it's triply deep. And I didn't know pareidolia was going to feature in today's show. Let's keep going.
Adam means mankind, and indeed here, on the floor of the crater, we see mankind's first breath. Now, take a good moment to think about this. This entire scene measures more than 5 kilometers in breadth. So, this entire formation on the ground is colossal. It is really, really massive. It cannot be built simply by human hands.
Because it's not a sculpture. It's just natural formations that you are engaging in pareidolia with. I want to see where that was on the map again. Just a second.
This entire formation on the ground is colossal. It is really, really massive.
Yeah. Switch over to.
It cannot be.
Okay, so because I'm going to bring up my Google Earth here. Just a second, and we're going to look into it. I love doing some live sleuthing here with you guys, so this will be fun. So let's go North Africa. We're going to switch it to satellite. He's up in this area, right? Let's flip back over here. I wish I didn't have the stupid pop-up bar that comes down at the bottom. So there's the sea of sand.
Built simply
down south of Libya. We're honing in, so we're going to be down here. Let's keep the borders in view.
by human hands or
to the City Mountains. There we are. Y'all get to watch me in action. I think that's this mountain range here, right? Does it tell us when we zoom out? Let's look at their landmarks.
we must indeed have spent the time with a large population of people to build this formation that measures 5 kilometers in diameter. But the entire formation on the ground is colossal. It is really, really massive.
See this again.
It cannot be built simply by human hands or
Damn it, I'm trying to... Here, I'm going to mute him while I do this because I'll make y'all have to keep listening to him say that over and over again. I'm trying to find the location he's in. So, yes, enjoy watching. Let's slow this down. That's what we're going to do. Does it give me the option to slow it down on this player? No. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to type in is that how it was spelled? There we go. Okay. So I think this is the formation he's looking at, right? So here's the crater. So this area of Africa is riddled with these craters. See, here's one. Here's a crater right there. There's a crater right there. And the Tibet Mountains center on this crater right here. So do we need to rotate it? Where is Adam? Does he have the coordinates? Let's see. Does he include the coordinates there, buddy? Can we hide this? You're in my way, dude. Can we hide the freaking menu bar here? Because then I have to keep playing it over and over again. Zoom it out just... Oh, seeing that happen so fast. Alright, so there's the Tibet. And we're zooming in. Keep going back and forth. This is really what I do, like when I used to research this stuff pretty regularly. Let's see. So we're way over here. Yeah, down right there. Okay. See, I see where his circle is. And we're going to zoom in on that circle. There's Mont 2 side. I think that one appears in his satellite image here when we zoom in. Oh, now we've moved over to this place right here. Why doesn't he just type in the coordinates and just go to it? Makes this so much easier. It's an XY axis. It's easy to do. Two coordinates, people. Now, honestly, if I was to create coordinates myself, I probably would have done it differently with the way that it's numbered. It would have been from, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to go into that right now. Doesn't give any landmarks when he zooms in, though. That's the problem. And then this stupid pop-up bar. Hey, I might have a solution for that. Just a second. What if we pull this out to YouTube and watch it there? No pop-up bar now. Ooh, and we got the coordinates down there at the bottom, too. Sweet! Let's do this. All right. Just a second back here, so we're going to go back to Right? I don't let them get away with that. You know me, Regios. I pull out my maps and go down in Street View and hold their feet to the fire. All right. Okay, so we got coordinates. We've got the coordinates, kids. Let me see. We got 20, 35, 11, north, and 17, 26.20 east. All right. So now all I have to do is key that in. Go to maps. Am I keying it in wrong? 20 degrees, 17. Is that 170? Let's try that. All right, we're getting somewhere now. All right, just a second here. Okay, so we have the coordinates, kids. Let's see. Do we have to rotate it or something? I'm not even seeing. Oh, okay. Maybe there it is. Okay, so it's this right here. He was clicked down there, but here it is. So Tarsa Yiga. Let's find out what Tarsa Yiga is. You guys want to? Let's see. Tarsa Yiga. It has a Wikipedia article. Let's see what that says. Okay. Tarso Yiga is a stratovolcano in Tebesidi with a summit caldera that is 19 by 20 kilometers wide and 12 miles by 12 miles wide and 300 meters or 980 foot deep. The summit of the volcano reaches a height of 2,972 meters. That's 9,751 feet. And its caldera is the largest caldera in the Tebesti. I think it's Tebesti. I think I was saying it wrong earlier. Neighboring volcanoes include blah, 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 blah. The Inari Yega River drains the caldera westward and then south before joining the Inari Debarsars. I'm having a terrible time with these words. Sorry, kids. In the past, the river reached Lake Chad within the Holocene. Okay, the history, blah, da, 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 da. Humans have used the caldera for irrigation and agriculture. Yeah. But nothing about it being a giant sculpture of Adam. And I do see that looking at it on this gives us more perspective on what he's trying to claim is a sculpture of a face, especially when you zoom in on it. I don't know, I guess is this supposed to be his mustache? Because if this is his nose, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what this, because I get like from far, far away, you can see it just the way that the shadows fall on it. That it's like a face but when you zoom in, it loses that. I'm guessing this is supposed to be his tiny eye, and then his big nose, and then a mustache, and then there's the upper lip, mouth open all the way, bottom lip down here. Really, for being the ultimate Chad of Chad, Adam has a weak chin, because from his bottom lip to his chin is just this distance right here, but his nose is like that and his mouth opens like this. Unless he just had the ability to open his mouth huge, then his chin is quite tiny. And then, of course, here's where the Adam's apple is. And as you see, this stuff is just defined by the way the light's hitting it. With the light hitting it at a different angle, without these particular ridges being defined, this wouldn't stand out quite as much. This frame here that starts up here and goes down. That's what you're going to do when you look at these mud fossil clowns. And I say clowns, I'm not trying to be mean. Yeah, the Adam's apple of Adam, the Chad of Chad. I'm not trying to be mean, but this is ridiculous. These mud fossil people that look at mountain ranges and say that this is the remains of a dragon that was the size of a continent. What does a dragon the size of a continent do? It'd be like having a like a pet lizard, for instance, with suction cups on its fingers, and then suspending a beach ball, or putting a beach ball on one of those fans that blow it up in like the tube, and having the salamander, or not salamander, the lizard, try to crawl around and live on that. That's what it would be like for a continent-sized dragon crawling around on the surface of the earth. It would crawl all over the place and stomp all over everything. Its movement would actually interfere with the way the Earth rotates and orbits. It would just, the mechanics of it would be awful. It would not be a sustainable situation for that organism to live in. Oh my gosh, we got Reverb Twang, we got the one and only Dick Dawson. Hey babe, it's good to see ya. We're looking at, if you're just dropping in, we have this mountain range is supposed to be a sculpture of Adam. Or is it supposed to be Yahweh blowing breath? I don't know. But this is the mountain, or the volcano is Tarso Yiga that created this. And it's also carved by a little river. So between the volcanic activity and drainage, this is a drainage area, and it even mentioned that the drainage was used for agriculture. That drainage used to drain into Lake Chad, which is hella far away. Where's Lake Chad at? I would figure it'd be on the map from this far away. Yeah, but we're in the middle of the Sahara. Just keep that in mind too. This was an ancient volcano. So did I lose my spot? Eek! I did. It's all right. We can plug that right back in again. Nope, that was his bad coordinates, wasn't it? Yeah, here it is. We're back. Anyway, I keep losing it. Yeah, so he's got some cheekbones right here. Right? Some cheekbones. And I guess this is his neck veins. Look at those neck veins. And he's got hair. These craggy peaks are obviously the remains of a giant sculpture. Let's get back to the video, though. Now that we know where we're looking at and where this silliness finds its origins, let's continue on.
which signifies enclosed garden. And what better than a volcano crater to create an encircled garden? Because the crater walls we see...
Because that's kind of the truth about it, right? That's the long and short about Yahweh. As he started off as kind of like a volcano god, right? And lots of volcanoes in this area of North Africa.
In the image, and we'll see it better in other video footage, is about 300 meters high. So it encircles this plateau in the middle at the bottom. And on that bottom of the crater is this image of Adam. So Gan Eden signifies enclosed garden. An enclosed garden is shaped by the formation, the rim of the crater.
It's a volcano, like we just talked about. This was a volcano. Putting the Garden of Eden inside a giant volcano, that does sound like something Yahweh would do. Is that Germania I see out there? About time you showed up. I was about to issue a citation.
Adam lies safely within the walls of this crater. So the picture we get in verse 8 of chapter 2 in Genesis is entirely correct.
Uh-huh. Let's take it to those 4 rivers, babe, because that's the main things that give us the definitive
slide 7.
Location. Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
In Genesis chapter 2, verse 9, King James, we read, "And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil."
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the crater, and especially the crater walls, we see that they have streams of water running off of them. These streams form patterns on the ground, branching together in larger streams in the middle of the garden. And together...
What? Streams of water run from the edge of a crater down into the middle and form a... Oh, wow. That's so unique.
They form the branches of the trees in Eden. This is very clear, and we have several trees being formed.
So the claim now is that branching rivers look like trees because trees in the garden? I think all branching river systems look like trees when you look at them on a satellite map, because they'll come, and especially when it's a colored map where it's moving down into, because when you get down to the delta area and things get all green, then it looks like, but not always upside down, depending on if the rivers are, which direction the rivers are flowing and which direction you're looking at them from. They'll look like trees. And roots too. Mm-hmm.
Notice the many tree-like branches. The reason they exist is because of the pluvial activity of the streams interacting with the crater walls and the dust of the crater. These patterns are truly beautiful, and to anybody standing on the rim of the crater, they would indeed look as trees.
Prove it.
We now go to the rivers of Genesis.
So, I think inside of most any crater would look like this.
When we go a little bit further in Genesis 2.
1 second. Sorry, I'm back. Thank you for your patience. Just a kid popping in for information.
There is a description of the rivers of Eden.
Right, that's
and
important.
They have been located all around the world. You have popular theories that put them in Mesopotamia, current Iraq.
Popular theories like the fact that the Tigris and the Euphrates are in Mesopotamia.
Where they should have flowed into the Gulf Stream. This is a theory that is very well made, because we also encounter biblical names in that area that could refer to the ancient rivers of Eden. But also more to the north of Mesopotamia, we again have a valley where we see names returning that sound like Pison and Gihon. So there also one might be inclined that we are dealing with the rivers of Eden. But there is a problem with this idea, because people who emigrate from their country often take the memories of the locations they grew up in with them. And it is very common for people to arrive in a place, settle there, and give the same location names to that new location they find themselves in. So we get contamination of location names, and the diffusionism of the same name on different locations on Earth. So we have to be very careful here, and also in what I'm going to explain, that I have an idea or a hypothesis that we are looking at an earlier generation of these names, but so I found clues on the ground. So I will share it here and you can make up your own mind. So read in Genesis chapter 2 verses 10 to 14. And the river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The
rivers don't do this either, generally speaking. I mean, I guess what it's talking about is like a delta system, maybe. So it would, to me, that would tell me that it was close to the sea, not in a volcano.
The name of the first is Pison, that is it, which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it, which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. What? How can this be? We see all these names referring to Ethiopia, to the Euphrates, to Assyria. These are locations that are in very different parts of the world. They are separated by thousands of kilometers. How can we have rivers that go around all these areas? So there was no choice for me. I had to look at the chart of the mountain range that I found, and take a good look at maps to see if there was some correspondence between the names we have mentioned here in the Bible. And when I did that, I came to surprising insights. So for instance, we have the Eneri Zumeri, which is running northward of this mountain range. And that sounds like Sumer, Zumeri, Sumer. But why is Sumer appearing here in Africa? Because Sumer is supposed to be somewhere in Mesopotamia, current Iraq.
Yeah, just because it's named Sumer. I mean, does it even have the same etymological, like, talking about insects, no, ontological, or how you say it, origins that we use for Sumeria.
We also have Gomer village, close above the Tarso Ahon. Tarso means mountain. So is this the Gomer of the Bible? So what is it doing here? We also have Ausu, a place called Ausu, and that sounds like Abzu from Babylon. Abzu, the abyss.
Sounds like
of Babylon.
And
we find it near Zuar or Zuar.
Sounds like.
And then again, we have the name Zuar.
Origins.
Has this anything to do with the Jewish Zohar? The name of the book Zohar? These are strange names.
Yeah, they're in a language that you don't speak,
also,
and they don't understand.
Of the Gihon, of the river Gihon, somewhere appearing in the village name of
These
Gubon,
people are not naming. These people are not naming their. I mean, these aren't Jewish names, guy.
Sits at the top of a river. Now, Gihon and Gihbon or Gubon are similar sounding, and they are also to the southward of this massif. So for Pison, well, maybe we could guess that the village name or the area name Auzi, to the east below the Tarso Emiso, could be a candidate. For Perat, we have the Eneri Bardage. Eneri means river, and Bardage can be a lengthening of the word Perat. And this Perat or Perdage, or Perat, I'm making it sound similar, but there might be a hint there in the name, is running northward to Libya. So we have those as a candidate, but they are not very strong ones. And on the map, we also see words like agua, which means water.
You're just
Eneri
coming up
means
with
water, which leaves, of course, barra, which would be deriving from Perat.
making up origins for different names.
Or if we contract
here.
that is almost the same pronunciation as Guion.
Yeah.
And from the
All
mountain
right.
of Guion or Guion,
Well,
we see rivers
buddy,
flowing
I've
downward.
about had enough.
No,
Of
these are only
this,
seasonal
'cause if
rivers.
you're
because
not
there is
bringing
not
anything
enough
to the
to face.
table.
But he's also sleeping now with his eyes closed. You see a small slit where his eyes are. That
Oh,
could
we
signify
got
that his eyes
good
are closed.
grief. We got
and
more
notice the very pronounced
mountain
extending
range, mud fossil kind of crap.
nose
All right,
and the
I'm
high
done
brow that he
with
has. So
you.
it becomes
Yeah, so that was the looking at the Tarso Yiga as a claim for the location of the Garden of Eden. He wants us to help spread information about it. As much as I'm spreading information about it right now, it's about that's the extent that you're going to get from me, because I think this is all silly. His YouTube channel, he created a YouTube channel called Discovering the Garden of Eden. There's more videos out there, but you all can go lol if you want. But I'm done with him. I'm going to just see what Ken Ham has to say about the Garden of Eden and its location. Then we're gonna wrap up. This is the king of the creationists, so what he says goes. Passes down the
Where was the
royal
Garden
law.
of Eden located?
Many Christians believe the Garden of Eden was located in the Middle East, where today we see the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. However, that could not be so. In fact, we have no idea where the Garden of Eden was located on this earth. And let me share with you why. In Genesis chapter 2 and verse 10, we read about a river that went out of Eden to water the garden, and then that river was divided into 4 rivers. Now, the names of 2 of those rivers are given as the Tigris and Euphrates. However, when you look at the Tigris and Euphrates today, we don't see 4 rivers coming from one. That means that these could not be the same rivers. Well, why do they have the same names? Well, think about this. When the settlers from England came to Australia, they used names they knew from England in Australia to name cities and rivers.
So see there, Ring, there's apologetics for it not being between the Tigris and the Euphrates.
That's why we see the same names today in those 2 different countries in certain instances. The same is true in America as well. Well, when Noah landed in the Middle East, the Bible says that Noah's Ark landed in the mountains of Ararat, and now that area today known as the Middle East, we do see names such as the Tigris and Euphrates, similar to the names in the pre-flood world, but that doesn't mean they were the same rivers. It just means that Noah or his descendants used some of those same names they were familiar with before the flood to name places after the flood. Now, there's also another important fact to consider, which would also help us understand there is no way we would know where the Garden of Eden was originally located. You see, Noah's flood was a global event. It would have destroyed the earth. We also believe that there was one continent before the flood. We read on the 3rd day of creation that God gathered the waters together into one place. Presumably the land was in one place.
So he's like they're making a Pangea argument that like it was in the middle of Pangea and had 4 rivers spreading out from it, which actually would make more sense than what this other guy previously was saying. But that Mr. Ham here thinks that there was one supercontinent and then there was the flood and it broke everything up. And like in that year, in the flood year, of course, let's not talk about the logistical problems of that, but the description being of the land with the 4 rivers coming off of it definitely would make sense more of a single continent with 4 rivers going towards the sea in each cardinal direction.
And that land would have been so destroyed by the flood of Noah's day. We believe that that continent split up during the flood to form the continents that we have today. There is no way we would know where the Garden of Eden was originally located. And
so in that model, there'd be pieces of the Garden of Eden everywhere. So everybody can be right. There's a little piece in Chad, there's a little piece in the North Pole, a little piece in Kansas City, because the continent just split up, right?
under that area of the Middle East today, we see thousands of feet of sedimentary deposits, fossil-bearing deposits, flood deposits those sediments were deposited by the flood of Noah's day. So there's no way the Garden of Eden could be on top of those fossil-bearing sediments. So where was the Garden of Eden located? We have no idea where the Garden of Eden was located, but we do know that the Garden of Eden definitely existed.
We do not know that the Garden of Eden definitely existed. But I digress. That was Ken Ham on the location of the Garden of Eden, and then we watched somebody who claimed it was in Chad. I did have a couple other things to go over today, but I think that is it for. Yeah, that's going to be it for CreationWatch today. So that is what we have for the Garden of Eden and exploring that. We may revisit the Garden of Eden sometime in the future if more claims come forward or more claims are presented to me regarding the garden and its location. I will revisit this topic. So thank you for watching Creation Watch this Wednesday evening. If you're watching this with me, thank you for popping in. Please remember to be kind and take care, and we will see you next time.